April 18, 1955. In the early morning hours, an era comes to a close at Princeton Hospital. Albert Einstein, the man the world knew as a genius, closes his eyes for the last time. His will was clear, his body was to be cremated, his ashes scattered into the void like a secret. But this will had a small, yet colossal, omission. His brain was never mentioned, and it was in this void that one of history's most controversial decisions would be made. Dr. Thomas Harvey stood over the autopsy table, scalpel in hand, caught in the heart of a dilemma. Before him lay the owner of the brain that had unraveled the secrets of the universe. The thought of burning it to ashes didn't sit right with him. This was no ordinary organ, it was the very place where the theory of relativity was written, where ideas that bent space and time had sprouted. In the name of science, he couldn't lose it, and in that moment, the scalpel descended. There was no permission. No legal basis. He was even in a morally gray area. Dr. Harvey, as a doctor, was violating ethical rules, but as a scientist, he believed he was preserving humanity's common heritage. This was history's most paradoxical, scientific theft. What came after? It was almost a story of a fugitive. Harvey cut that unique brain into 240 pieces. He preserved it in special chemicals and, hard as it is to believe, for a while stored it inside a cooler filled with beer. He lost his job, he lost so much. But he dedicated his life to being the guardian of this brain. He distributed it in small pieces to researchers searching for the secret of genius.so. What was the secret of this sacred trust? What did science find? Einstein's brain was physically different too. What made him a genius was perhaps that the region of his brain responsible for mathematical and spatial thought was 15% wider. Or that the structures connecting the neurons in his brain were denser. Maybe the fact that the usual groove structure surrounding his brain was shaped differently allowed his neurons to communicate more efficiently. And what about his family? His son, Hans Albert, was shocked and rebelled when he learned of the situation. But Harvey managed to convince him with promising words about science and the future. In the end, he was persuaded that his father's legacy would continue not only through his ideas, but perhaps also through the discoveries that would come from his brain.so. Was this a theft, or was it a sacred trust? The answer isn't black or white. This event happened in the darkest shades of gray. Dr. Harvey acted not with malice, but purely for the love of science, driven by an impulse to seize a great opportunity, overstepping legal and ethical boundaries. This was the most famous case of unauthorized borrowing in the history of science. Does genius belong to society? How far can a scientist bend the rules for the sake of discovery?